already. Hey, good evening and welcome to the America First Abilene Report. This is Chris Tucker and Jason are here with you tonight.
Chris Turner, not Tucker.
Did I call you Tucker?
Yeah, that's
Dude,
okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. Got Tucker on my mind and you'll find out why here in a few minutes. But we've had some technical difficulties, but we're going to try it again tonight. Right. I think we're going to give you a little update on some of the situations unfolding.
Yeah, we're going to definitely try. We got another episode in the can from last time. If we can get it up and out, we'll put that up soon. But
all right, that was to kind of introduce America First Abilene and what we're all about. We have videos and an account on YouTube and Rumble.
And X.
It's America First Abilene. Come check us out. Join our group on Facebook, please.
Yeah, the same name. It's public, so anybody can join it.
Exactly. Some earth-rattling news in the world of politics have been going down. From Tucker Carlson to Tulsi Gabbard. But I think we want to start tonight and talking about what's going on with the war. Chris, what's your understanding of the latest?
Yeah, so as we all know, that Trump said he's trying to get this peace deal with Iran. And, you know, whether it's a good or a bad deal or the money that they're going to get potentially is not as big a concern as me, because we should have never been in this war to begin with. So at this point, cut our losses. It was costing us $2 billion a day. Mm-hmm. And so if we got to give them some money, whatever, let's do it and get it over with. But so what happened is they signed it, how many days ago was it? Trump signed it? About a week or less?
Approximately a week.
Yeah. So he was with that French Macron, the leader, the president. And he signed it. And what happened is, as we suspected, Israel, within 24 hours, they had already said, well, we weren't in the negotiations and we weren't part of this. So we got to do what we got to do to protect ourselves. And that means for them bombing the hell out of Lebanon again. So within 24 hours, they bombed them, and I think they bombed another apartment till or whatever it is. They killed 75 people in total. All of them were not Hamas.
Oh, and I should remind folks, I think I heard the other day, I was surprised enough to learn this. It appears that half of the people in Lebanon are Christians.
I don't know if it's half, but I know there is a big population of them. But
I'm not sure if they said Beirut or Lebanon, but apparently there's a big Christian population there. Mm-hmm. And that's who our bombs were paying for through Israel are killing.
Yeah, and we'll get a little more into that when we talk about what Trump said. But so then after Israel killed the 75 people in Lebanon immediately, Iran said, well, you violated the treaty already. And so deal's off. And they came and they launched a bunch of bombs at Israel at that point. And the news is saying that 4 of the Israeli soldiers were killed in that one. And so then they said, well, we've been attacked by Iran now. That's what Israel said, even though they did the first attack, of course. But now, see, we've got to defend ourselves for being attacked again. Yeah. Whatever. So basically, Israel blew it up before it ever got started. And that's not a surprise because we figured that was going to happen. There has been some pushback and surprises, though, since that happened with Trump and JD Vance, the vice president, both coming out pretty forcefully and saying, look, Israel, you have a right to defend yourself, but what you're doing is over the line. And Trump even said, you don't have to blow up in a whole apartment just to go after one Hamas guy. I saw that. Like, you need to restrain yourself, just be a little less crazy, which is saying they're crazy.
Right, exactly.
But he said that, and he called them out again. You know, and the other day they asked him, what are you going to do to basically to get Israel in check? And he said, I'm not going to tell you, but trust me, I make deals, I'll figure it out. But we'll see. Because they've kind of, and you'll notice all the new MAGA people that were the Mark Levins and Laura Loomers and Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, all of them have been coming after him now. Oh, he's wrong. You can't side with Iran. They'll never do the deal. We got to go back to war right now. He's wrong. Trump's wrong. We got to stand with Israel, you know. And then even I literally heard Lindsey Graham say, look, Israel, you do what you have to do to defend yourself. That means you get nukes, then you go get nukes and do it. I said, this maniac. And he's gotten elected again, or at least in the primary he won the South Carolina primary because Trump backed him, and because there's a lot of idiots in South Carolina, I guess. But nonetheless, that's the kind of thing we're dealing with now. And so, and JD Vance, for not for nothing, he's really kind of come out strong against Israel a couple times, and I'm here for it because they are the quickest problem. They got us in this. Well, Trump got us in the war, but they pushed us in, and now they're trying to keep us in there.
Trying to keep us in there. As you mentioned, the nation of Israel has been named by the Pentagon as the number one threat as far as surveillance or what do you want, spying on the United States. And you have this deal in the works that was formerly Section 224 of the National Defense Authorization Act. They've now renamed it to 219. Is that right?
Yeah. So 224 was the original one in the House side, but they got too much heat, so they renamed it to 219. But it's the exact same thing. And of course, what's that Arkansas senator? He put out the Senate bill. I can't think of his name right this second, but he's the Arkansas senator, Tom Cotton.
Cotton, yes.
Yeah, and so he did basically the same bill on the other side. But, yeah. So
what a traitor.
Basically, there's not any new action. They're both headed towards the floor eventually, but we can't report one way or the other. Hopefully, they get shut down. But
right, because this would be the end of United States sovereignty as we know.
100%. And this is not about Israel. Even any country, I would be against this.
Right. And for those of you who don't really fully understand what we're talking about, these bills is a plan to merge the nation of Israel's military and our own, especially when it comes to intelligence sharing. So they would know everything in real time of what our intelligence community knows, unless the president specifically prohibits one information share or another. And they don't have time to do that.
You're right. And if we can ever get that other one that's in the can up, we go into much more detail about those. So,
right, indeed, yeah.
Before we moved too far down the list, though, I just wanted to, after JD started kind of calling them out, so they do polymarket, the betting markets. Mm-hmm. Well, he was sitting about 22% on there, and Marco Rubio was 24% to be who was going to run for president and be. So Rubio had actually passed him up for a while now. And as soon as he started talking like this, he shot up all the way to 40% and left Rubio in the dust. That shows you, it's not about, we hate Israel or whatever. It's about people are tired of giving them money, giving them weapons for them to turn around and act like they're running us.
Right.
And it's a big deal. I'm telling you, there's all the Democrats and a lot of conservatives are very much against what we're doing with Israel right now. So.
Yeah, and it's my opinion that no matter how you feel about it, let's say you're a boomer and you're a diehard Republican all your life, the political parties have been a way to distract the American people and divide them for a long time. We've had this two-party system, and to see a third option emerge, this America First movement, is truly patriotic. And it doesn't have this name that you could twist around, because the Republicans and Democrats, they've switched identities throughout the past. Like the Democrats used to be the more conservative party. The Southern Blue Dog Democrats, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so they've switched roles. America First is going to be an America First always.
Yeah. And that's, I'm still a precinct chair or whatever for the Republican Party. I'll do what I can locally, but I'm America first. And that's I don't mean to say it like that, but
I know what you mean.
I'm going to stand for America and for Texas before anything. Party be damned.
Right.
And that's why there's members of locally in Texas. There's people that got elected on the Republican side that I will not campaign for. There's some I would give every opportunity for success, like Jay Hardaway. Mm-hmm. Even though I had some disagreements with him, he won fair and square, and I'm going to give him the chance to show me that he's different than Stan. But there's others like Lieutenant Governor who could never get my vote again under any circumstance, and I won't campaign for him, I won't door knock for him, I won't do anything.
No way in hell.
But that's just an example of I'm going to put people who put Texas first and Texans first, and then Americans, same thing. Speaking of, I don't know if you wanted to go into the Tucker thing or you got something first.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's talk about Tucker Carlson.
So, yeah, we just talked about people being fed up, and Tucker came out the other day on a podcast and said, look, I can't be a Democrat because I don't agree with him, but I will not support Republicans who do not support this country. That's what he said. And so I'm out. And that, of course, caused an earthquake on social media and everywhere for all these, the rhinos and everybody else, the Mark Levins and all them that say, oh, nobody cares what Tucker thinks. He's isolated and nobody listens to Tucker. They've been throwing a fit for days now, every day.
Well, that's funny for Mark Levin to say that. I think his numbers are very low.
Oh, yeah. Tucker does more in 1 week than Levin does in a year on views.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's not even...
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of surprised that people don't want to listen to Mark Levin's his fingernails on a chalkboard voice every night.
Yeah, well, on the way over here, when I was coming over here, it was 7 o'clock, and that's when he comes on the radio normally. Well, I was surprised and not surprised. The surprise was that he wasn't on there tonight. Some other guy, he said, well, I got taken, I had to step in for Mark Levin, because he called me and he said, hey, I need you. I'm in Israel. Of course he's in Israel. And I thought to myself, I wish he'd stay.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway.
My goodness.
Yeah, so back to the Tucker thing. That is a big deal because a lot of people still listen to Tucker for good reason, I think. Mm-hmm. He's been America first, proven over and over again. More
recently, in my opinion, he became... a lot more believable and had a lot more credibility because he turned around on the old Tucker. He was not that old mainstream Tucker anymore.
Yeah, right. And if you haven't listened to him and gave him a fair shot, you should. But,
oh, my goodness.
I listen to him pretty regularly, and I agree with 90% and maybe 95% of the stuff he says. So,
my God, check out his 9/11 documentary.
Right.
It's groundbreaking. It's like if I were to... I'm a big 9/11 guy. Mm-hmm. And I was very much satisfied with all the... he explored every angle and talked about all the questions that I pretty much had about the terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and we're going to have to get to that here in a minute. Tucker was warning about a false flag attack. We can't forget to mention that.
Yeah, but to go back to this, because I want to spend a minute on it. It's like, why this matters is people like Tucker, if they'll stand up and say, look, I'm not going to do it, and... He's come out since then and said, I might could get behind JD depending on how he goes. Talking about JD Vance. But it really seems like he's putting the dominoes in a row to get behind or start a third-party bid or something, as the America First Party, which is what we just talked about.
Right.
And MTG already said, Marjorie Taylor Greene already came out and said, hey, I'm also right there. I can never be a Democrat, but I'm tired of these America Last Republicans, so I'm with you, Tucker, and... there's a bunch more people that are right there with him. Mm-hmm. Big names, even. I think Thomas Massey's right there. There's others, but
if Donald Trump was trying to accidentally put together a third party, he couldn't have done much better if he'd tried.
Yeah, especially if Vance goes that way, I think that would be huge too.
Oh my goodness!
But
massive.
It's just and. All these the neocons and all them. Oh, he's the worst. He's a traitor. He's no. He's actually standing up for America first, which is what he says he is.
JD Vance, you mean?
No, I mean Tucker.
Oh, Tucker, indeed. Okay,
but yes. They're slamming him, of course. Oh, Tucker's the worst, and he's a traitor. But I'm telling you, that's not to be slept on. Tucker making a big wave like that means something.
Tucker. Started understanding that the conspiracy theorists were right. Mm-hmm. He apologized to Alex Jones. He turned around on his pro-war views of the past and became vehemently anti-war. Tucker, in my opinion, has been a hero who's put his own life at risk. I mean, they were considering bringing him up on charges regarding his war and communication with Iranians trying to stop the war. So, Tucker was being investigated. Who else were they threatening with that kind of action? Yeah. Trump has called them all traitors. In my opinion, they are true patriots that understand that war is a racket, just like Marine Corps General Smedley Butler warned us it was 1935.
Yeah, and there's still some cult members of the MAGA group, the Trump over everything supporters who are upset about this too. The other day on Facebook, it's like the New Jersey Republicans group or some group. I don't know how I got in it. I'm not New Jersey Republican, but
right.
They were some of the most boomer, outlandish takes I ever heard on there. But one said is an old lady. I looked on her. She's probably in her 60s or 70s, and she said, "Enough is enough. Tucker is out of control. We need to go and arrest him right now because he came out and said he's not a Republican anymore." I said, "Do you hear yourself? Arrest? That's what we're doing here in America." I almost fell out of my chair. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Those are the worst kind of cult people. They're just as bad or worse than the Democrats. And
the party, whether people like it as the boomers and what die off, the party is going to become the more libertarian.
Yes, and Israel knows. That's why they want to get these things through, because they know that their days as running over us, as a country, are over.
Right.
Because as the older boomer generation, goes out to pasture, the young people are not going to have it.
No.
Anybody under 40 is done with it.
Y'all, if you don't understand this, the young people are having a hard time buying a house, living the American dream, and they're going to realize they're sending a lot of money overseas to kill people. And I truly believe that's another reason why America First truly represents conservatism, because the best conservatives have a God they fear.
Yeah. And
if you fear God, and for other reasons, you don't want to see children. I mean, people talk about the criminality of the hiding of the Epstein files and the covering up for pedophiles, these pedo protectors. Well, what about people that straight up want to kill kids?
Yeah.
Because if you're a warmonger, let me tell you something right now. You're killing kids, and you're blowing their arms off, and you're disabling them for life. It's not Christian, and I don't care if you are a kid in Gaza or a kid in Lebanon or a kid in Arkansas. You deserve to be protected by all the adults in the world.
Right, and I don't know who said it. I wish I can remember right now, but they actually brought that whole point up this week about, there's all these Republicans that, and maybe JP...
Sears?
Yeah, maybe it's him, but they did a whole thing about all these Republicans claim to be pro-life, and you can't murder the kids and the babies and all that, but they have nothing to say when it's happening over there, and they're killing innocent people.
Right.
And kids.
And lots of them.
Lots. Tens of thousands of...
I'll tell you one thing that made my blood boil, Chris, and that was when hearing these reports of Israeli centers where they set up places for people to come get food, and then when they show up, they begin shooting them.
Yeah.
Basically like a deer feeder for human beings. And that just made me... I mean, that's God. I have to say something about that to sleep at night. That made me so ill with anger.
Well, I'm sure you heard that quote by the... what was he? The former... Let me look real quick if you want to keep going. But he was like the former for Israeli... What was his position? He basically said...
Israeli defense minister, maybe?
Yeah. He said that, if for every one... person or one soldier in the IDF that get killed, we need to have 1,000 Lebanon mothers need to cry, and then he said we need to burn it all down, and it was just evil.
Psychotic
evilness.
And that's why I'm both surprised and also not surprised to see Trump come out and call it like it is, because of the pressure he's got to be feeling from the bottom of people who are fed up with these wars that they know have no direct benefit or interest for America. And is there anything else you want to say about Israel and Iran right now, Chris, or are we good on that?
As far as the war, you mean?
Yeah, and I guess we don't have anything new to say about the merger yet, the Section 219 of the NDAA.
We just know that they're both going to be in the floor within a couple of weeks. I would say there's a bunch of Republicans right now that said in the House that said, I'm not going to agree to anything right now. No bills will pass until we get the SAVE Act. Now, I hope they stick to that.
Right. Just because of this, mainly. If your friends and family don't know about this, you've got to get them informed on this attempt, basically for Israel to take over the United States military.
Yeah, here we go. So it said this guy, he's the former Israel National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, I guess is how you say it. He said, for every tear of an Israeli mother, 1,000 Lebanese mothers must weep. All of Lebanon must burn. And then he just went on, to say all kinds of stuff about how he said it again. And 1,000 Lebanon mothers must weep over one. And then he wanted to destroy the whole place. That's just crazy.
So even if they don't make one Israeli soldier's mom weep, they're going to burn it down anyway.
And that's at the same time, JD Vance is saying, hey, Israel, calm down. You got 9 million people. You can't kill your way out of this situation. Yeah. But the problem is they think they can. And, if we really stand up and Trump and them continue to say, hey, no, stop it, Israel, or we're going to take your stuff, there's a very high probability they're going to do some kind of a false flag. And I know you wanted to go in on that here in a minute, but they've already said they'll either do some kind of a false flag on us or over there, and they'll blame Iran directly, whatever they're going to do to try to get us back in the war, or what the other alternative is worse, and that would be that one of those 300 nukes, or they sit on, as Lindsey Graham said, use the nukes if you have to. They're just crazy enough to do it.
Well, Lindsey Graham is where perversion and warmongering come together. And a lot of you out there probably don't realize there's probably something wrong with you. Or maybe you're not directly involved in war. Maybe you haven't seen enough of it. But
right.
The people who were there and saw war, like General Douglas MacArthur, called for war to be made illegal.
Right.
And so they know the horror of it, and we are here to prevent more that just leads to more when it comes to violence. We should mind our own borders and try to get along with our neighbors. So we're not always saying America only. I think America first is a better way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, I lean more towards America only than not the opposite America first, but, America first is a pretty mainstream idea in a way that most people can understand that. So
yeah,
I'm not against, fair and free trades and that make sense for everybody involved, but so, yeah, I just don't want us being the policemen of the world and everything else.
Well, absolutely. And so, moving back into Tucker Carlson, he warned, as we have been warning you, we made videos months back talking about the danger of a false flag terror attack. And if you're not aware of what that means, that is an attack where something is bombed or blown up, civilians killed, and then you blame your political enemies and use that to go after them. Much like when Nazi Germany killed prisoners and dressed them in Nazi uniforms to make it look like the Polish had attacked them.
The Gulf of Tonkin was another one that's undisputed at this point that happened, and that was blamed to get us into that war.
False flag coming from actual flags you would use on a ship. They would actually fly some other group or country's flag
and then attack.
Right, and therefore blame your political enemies. 9/11 being the biggest example we've ever seen of pretty much what's confirmed now, a false flag attack to get the United States involved in this war on terror that went on for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. And that was a double joint effort, in my opinion. That was the neocons at the time that wanted to go to war and wanted to pass the Patriot Act and everything else, and Israel. Both of them wanted us to get into the wars, and it worked because we were stuck in the Middle East for 20 years after that.
Right. And so as we warned you, when the establishment of war is in trouble with public opinion, they want to blow something up and get your sympathy behind the war effort once again. And Tucker has warned now of, and that's basically the same thing we were talking about, Israel more likely setting off maybe even a nuclear weapon somewhere to get the United States behind this war once again.
I can't, at this point, I can't put anything past them. They're showing that they have no respect for anything, us or, innocent people or nothing. So,
yeah.
And I'm not saying everyone that they've ever killed is innocent, because there's not, but they've killed way too many innocent people.
If you've seen some of these cityscapes of places in like Gaza or Lebanon where they've bombed, it looks like, a complete city laid to waste.
Yeah.
And it is unlivable. There are no roofs on anything. Like all the structures are collapsed. It is apocalyptic.
Right.
And it's a real, and like I said, the feeding centers where they're calling people to get food and then they start shooting people, just makes me rage and want to fully, I'm sorry, but at that point, you're an ally like that, with an ally like that, who needs the enemies geopolitically in the world? Not to mention the attack on the USS Liberty and the spying, where apparently Israeli spies had foreknowledge of the 9/11 attacks and did not pass that on to American authorities. That's not an ally.
No.
And 3,000 Americans, I think, would agree with me if they were here to speak for themselves.
Yes.
But yeah, Tucker Carlson being very brave and very wise in warning the people, hopefully where it won't happen, a false flag attack, maybe even of a nuclear nature by Israel, but made to look like Iran has done it. So that's a very real threat we always face. And do you want to dive into the Charlie Kirk, or you want something else to say about it?
Is it wherever you want to go next? We can do that whenever. So.
Well, Charlie Kirk news. Apparently, let me see here. There's been some news in the trial.
Yeah, so yesterday it came out, I think, that the judge, of course, he's not a very good judge right on the bat. You can tell he's very inexperienced and stuff. But so the defense wanted to say, hey, bring Lance Twiggs, which was the furry boyfriend of
accused assassin.
Yeah, of the accused assassin. And because we saw the letters and all that kind of, it looked so made up, it was crazy. But so they said, bring him in, let him testify and tell his story to the court. That's what we want. Well, the prosecution's like, no, we don't need to bring him in. We can just play a video of him saying whatever they want him to say, or whatever they had him saying allegedly.
Right.
Well, the judge said, I agree. There's no need to make him come in. We don't need him.
Ridiculous.
He's the star witness of all this, allegedly.
Right.
Yes, he does need to be there, and yes, he does. And the fact that you're not going to... How is that a fair trial for... what's his name? I can't think of it.
Tyler Robinson.
Tyler Robertson. Whether you think he did it or not, if you're being accused and that guy says you said all these things, allegedly, have him come there and tell the story to the court, to the jury.
Right.
Don't say, we're just going to play a video that could have been doctored. And we live in a world of AI. Who knows that that's even a real video at this point?
With many out there really doubting the official story,
of course,
with good reason.
Yeah, this does nothing to further an attempt to find the truth.
Absolutely not. Tyler Robinson allegedly being the killer of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, in his youth, he was only 32 when he was killed. He had created this organization, Turning Point USA, that's now headed by his widow, and it has gone south, according to a lot of folks.
Very much so.
And kind of gone against Charlie's will, and it makes you wonder what's really going on out there.
Just an example of that, if you didn't know, Charlie Kirk literally called Thomas Massey his favorite politician, and he was 100% behind him, and he would have been 100% behind him even against Trump. But because Trump had come out against him, Turning Point went radio silent, didn't say a word, no endorsement, no nothing. And he had a Liberty score of 97, I think, from Turning Point. So how do you, your highest ranking ever for a candidate, and you don't endorse him?
Right.
There's something amiss there. But again, how much money did Israel pile in that race? 22 million or whatever.
Right.
So, and if you want another example, we could say, well, Tucker made another news when he came out and said the Charlie Kirk was not murdered for his stance on transgenderism, however you say it.
No.
But more likely, he said, not for sure, but more likely, it was his evolving stance on Israel, and with the Iran war and everything else. And then he said those of us that were friends of him know this. And then Blake Neff, who's the bald-headed idiot on
Charlie Kirk show.
Yeah, that took over his show with Andrew Kovic. Blake Neff immediately came out on X and said, "You're lying, and you were not a close friend. Tucker was never a close friend from him, and he'd never said that, basically. And that he was actually said that the transgenderism was what was the threat. And he basically said the opposite. Well, all you got to do is look back to within 2 weeks of Charlie's death, Tucker went on Charlie's show with those two guys, and they interviewed him, and Blake Neff can be heard very clearly in 4K. Oh, you were one of Charlie's best friends. You were right there. Every moment, you know exactly what he was thinking. It's laughable almost. It's so corrupt, though.
Yeah. Is Turning Point USA run by pathological liars?
Yes, apparently. And that's unfortunate because, I was behind them big time when all this first happened. I was like, yes, this is huge. We're going to get movements everywhere, charters in all the schools. I retract every bit of that. They're not something to be... I wouldn't push these guys in the schools right now. And that's happening all the way across the country. The ones that had started these charters for Turning Point are like, you know what, we'll do something else because we don't stand for what Turning Point stands for in the current day.
Yeah. I had initially moved to establish one of those at my school.
Yeah.
And when it became apparent that Turning Point was hiding something or maybe even taking the organization in a direction that Charlie would not have wanted,
yeah,
I withdrew my support.
And I think you were, on this issue, you were quicker than me to get to the right spot. Like, I was still wanting to give them every chance to not become what they have become.
Yeah.
But at this point, anybody who's objective can't look at what they're doing and say, hey, I can stand with this. And that's sad because that was his whole legacy, and they did a lot to help Trump get elected in 2024.
Well, it's apparent that they're not true constitutionalist conservatives because Massey was, and they didn't support him. So the defeat or the election stolen from Thomas Massey, I think, is like I said, the Alamo moment for us America Firsters. We're going to remember Thomas Massey and what was done to him in Kentucky because he had the highest liberty score of any congressman and did not take any money from the foreign lobbies.
Yeah, and like I said, I think if Tucker and them, MTG and all them do some kind of party, he's probably going to be a major figure over there.
Right.
And good.
I think the America First Party is shaping up to look pretty impressive.
I wouldn't be... We'll get into her later here in a minute, but I think Tulsi Gabbard could be another one that joined.
Exactly.
Joe Kent. Maybe Candace Owens even.
Please.
She's kind of doing her own thing with the Charlie Kirk deal, but as far as... And Megyn Kelly, somewhat, Alex Jones. Yep. There's a lot of people that would stand on that side, I think.
Yeah. Alex Jones has been impressed. I stopped listening to him for years there, and I've come back to him now because, he has more... once again, he's in opposition to the establishment instead of cozying up too much to one side.
Well, to be fair, I was with them there on the whole Trump thing until Trump lost his mind.
Right. Yeah, he's not the same Trump we had a year ago even.
Yeah, well, hopefully he does finish waking all the way up here with this Israel thing and ends this war and gets back to the domestic stuff, which he is much better on.
Right.
Because...
Like Robert F. Kennedy and the vaccines, those are things that I cannot deny were huge accomplishments that I saw under Trump. And I don't say so much that that's an accomplishment of Trump as it is the will of the people has to eventually be seen through. And I think with the vaccines, that's just something that they had to do to appease us because they know there's this tidal wave coming of angry mamas who their kid was fine and functioning normally, and then a vaccine injured them. Nobody was covering their stories. And so with the RFK thing is a great shining point of this administration.
Yeah.
And them now coming out and criticizing Israel. are signs that they want to keep some of us on board.
Yeah, and that is an important one. And he might end up going to the America First people too.
Right.
If it breaks out further, but we'll see. Like I said, there's so many big things that could happen with that. But
right.
What else did you want to do here besides the Tulsa thing?
Oh, one more thing about the Charlie Kirk thing. Some people might find this interesting. I was surprised. A friend sent me a message the other day, and he said, type in tylerrobinson.gov, like in your URL. All lowercase, right? And see what pops up. I did. tylerrobinson.com, and what comes up but Turning Point USA's official site. I'm not sure if that's still working. Somebody out there, Valerie, I see you watching. Hope you're doing okay. We used to work together, Valerie and I. Great girl, friend of her mom's. Tell everybody I said hi, Val. But anyway, and Chris, I think, is going to test it right now. Are you testing the tylerrobinson.gov?
To be fair, I think. Well, did you say .gov? Because that's.
I think it's .com. I get those switched up. So I guess, did you want to get into Tulsi Gabbard next, Chris? I think we've covered most of the rest of what I had.
Yeah, so as you know, she had come out and said, well, my husband has cancer and I'm going to be stepping down, which is unfortunate because she's been one of the rock stars of the administration and unearthed a whole bunch of corruption, which is what we voted for.
As a director of national security,
yes, as DNI, head of DNI.
Tulsi Gabbard, great lady.
So her last day in office, she came out and said, here are all these files. They prove without a shadow of a doubt that Dr. Fauci provided millions of taxpayer dollars to fund gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab and other places across the world. And this is something he said repeatedly, that he never did that. As late as 2024, he was under oath in Congress lying about that. Mm-hmm. That's why this matters, because this is not the thing that they had earlier with Rand Paul that kind of expired the statute of limitations.
Right.
This is something that still is in play for a little bit longer. So,
right.
And I don't think it's covered by the stupid pardon that the auto pen, Joe Biden gave. So, yeah, I think they could actually go after him here. And he's going to be called in front of Congress again, I think, and Rand Paul soon.
Anthony Fauci, one of the top villains of the COVID era, the COVID scamdemic, that had people being forced to take vaccines in order to keep their jobs, forcing 4-year-olds to wear a mask all day, which was not sanitary or sane, and doing all the absurd separation of families that occurred at that time. And one problem that people had with Tulsi Gabbard is that she referred to it as a leak, and some of us would come a little closer to saying it was a deliberate release, because it sure matched a plan they'd had in place and they'd been exercising for, to use a pandemic situation to lock countries down. And that's exactly what they did worldwide with COVID. Probably the darkest prolonged period I think we've seen in history, with more damage to the economy and to the mental health of children. And of course, a lot of folks got killed in hospital, like my dad, and hospitals were paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for dead patients during that time.
Yeah. So on that Tyler Robinson thing, the .com never brought up anything, and the .gov says it can't open it now. So
.com did nothing?
No, there was not one. But the .gov there is. It just says it can't be opened. So I don't know. Nonetheless, I'm not surprised by anything surrounding this case anymore.
Right. Yes. And some folks out there, a lot of people have been coming on board and even questioning whether Charlie Kirk was even assassinated or not.
Yeah, I've heard that opinion too, that they faked it. and he's actually on an island somewhere with Tupac and Biggie or whatever.
Well, it's funny because I don't believe Charlie Kirk would be complicit in something like that, especially when his organization was turned in such a juxtaposition of what it was.
Well, and I don't think that's the case either. But playing the devil's advocate, if he knew for a fact that Israel was trying to kill him, and they took a shot at him, or whatever, they had intel that they were going to kill him, maybe he does do that to get so that he can actually still see his kids and stuff. But I don't know. I don't have proof to support into that. So if I can't prove it, I'm not going to say it. But.
Right. Well, the whole story is so strange from the cover-up of the crime scene where they dug up all the area around.
Right.
Filled it in with concrete immediately. And the evidence seems to point to an explosive in his lavalier, his microphone. Hey, Tim. Thanks for watching. Alexis, thank you for watching.
Yeah, I'm not... All I know is that the gun they said killed him did not kill him.
Right. It was not a 30-06 apparently, because that would have the damage. The forensics don't line up with the injury he received.
And the gun didn't even match because the kind of thing that was on it through the safety pole wouldn't have worked either. So it's just an impossible thing.
And the story is absurd. Him jumping down, having disassembled the rifle, reassembling it without the
even
screwdriver.
Though he left the screwdriver up there on the roof.
And then leaving it out for authorities. And I had heard that the sniffing dogs have been brought around, and they could not find the weapon. But the FBI shows up, and boom, it's there all of a sudden.
Yeah. And then he allegedly wrote, I'm just trying to get my gun back, and I did it, to Lance Twiggs, and sure.
Wants to go get the gun back. So the Kirk assassination, for those who have not been following it, it's hard for me to follow. This thing makes the Kennedy assassination look like Tinker Toys.
Yeah. And to be fair, if anybody who knows anything about former political assassinations, us getting a false story out of the gate is not news. Like they have on JFK and
RFK,
MLK,
right.
A lot of people.
Yeah, the head of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, saw both his dad and his uncle killed in these assassinations where you have a patsy and a cover-up that has endured for 60 years. So that might be one of the motivating factors behind Robert F. Kennedy being so truly anti-establishment. When it comes to the issue of vaccines, like I said, I was thrilled to see him come on board, and for the exposure and for people to look at that childhood vaccine schedule and realize how toxic it is. If you're out there and you're a parent, you have rights to not vaccinate your kids.
Absolutely.
They're going to be healthier than the vaccinated kids. And if you need to take them to public school, especially in Texas now, you can print your affidavit from home to be exempt your child, have it notarized at the bank, then you take it to the school nurse and you're done.
Yeah.
Print it from home, get it notarized, take it to the nurse. It's a done deal. They've made it more streamlined and easier for your kid to have medical freedom here in Texas.
Yeah, and if any of y'all are having trouble finding it, let us know. We'll give you a link.
Absolutely. Just Google, for instance, Texas vaccine exemption, and if you've got access to a printer, you've got it in your hands.
Definitely.
Let me see here. Chris, is that pretty much all we've got for right now? I think data center news.
There's a lot of pushback. What did I see the other day? They actually had like a meeting up in Austin about it with some of the legislators, and it's getting like Sid Miller, of course, the agricultural, the one that's on the way out, unfortunately. He's been right on top of this, saying we need to stop all data centers for a moratorium at least, and then figure out what's going on. And even the governor now, he sees it's a political hot issue, so he's like, well, they need to have their own water supply, all their own water, and no more giving them tax abatements. And, we'll see if any of that actually happens or if he's just doing it while he's running.
Right.
But anyway, they had the deal, and a bunch of people came to speak, and the head of the water, I can't remember her actual title, but basically the head of the whole water plan in Texas got on there and said that they were factoring their water until about 2030, or so, and that didn't factor any of these data centers. And we've gone from 20-something data centers to 300 in Texas.
Right.
And then she said, they asked her, well, how many of these have reported their water usage figures? And she said 17% of the data centers are even telling. The rest will not even tell you how much water they're using.
Right.
Including the one here.
Not a good sign.
Yeah. But that just shows you we're already struggling for water big time, and it's going to use so much water across Texas, and that's going to further drive our water bill here is going up 10%.
Right.
All our water bills. And they say it's for the sewage, whatever. It's just the start. They're going to keep going up with these stupid data centers.
Well, it's like that hippie girl that they were interviewing on the local news. And if you're out there and you're the one wearing the glasses with the Be Kind shirt on, please, she's the one that said, this country was basically based on resistance. Resistance is not futile, like what a lot of people say, that these things are here to stay and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I think we're here to stay, thank you very much. We've got more of an attitude of the Founding Fathers. Although we're very anti-war, we're very much for your Second Amendment, your right to defend yourself. They say Israel has the right to defend itself. Well, by God, we certainly have the right to defend ourselves. As a people, it's in our Bill of Rights.
And I will say, even our local news is starting to regularly cover the data centers and, put out stories about it. They can see the more people are mad about it and concerned, and it's a big story now. So
the writing is on the wall.
What's the worm is turning or whatever. So
yeah.
And that's what I said, I think, at the very beginning of this is all these local politicians who voted for this, they're going to be hard to find once everything goes, I didn't know, or you should have known. You shouldn't have voted for it if you didn't have it researched properly. But I think a lot of those people are going to be held accountable in the years to come because it's just going to get worse and worse.
I hope so. Instead of just escaping into the private world.
Yeah. We also saw locally here that, speaking of, the roads went from $7 million in the budget to next year. It's under 3 or at 3. So they're having all these trucks daily run over the thing that are going to the data center, making the roads way worse. And the math I did, they're going to get roughly $13 million at the city this year from the data center in taxes. But yet they're cutting in half the street funds. So how does it make sense?
Right.
The math ain't mathin'. And, it's the same thing. The counties, I think they're going to get $8 or so million. Who's fixing these roads that the trucks are tearing up at a much faster pace than they normally would, and they already sucked.
Right.
So,
if the data centers are an issue you're concerned about, God knows, so are we. So please come join us at America First Abilene.
Yes.
On Facebook. Join our group and let's start a real community. There is a website, saveabilene.com.
Yeah, I looked at it. It's pretty good. I haven't really spent a lot of time on it, but they're also, it's interesting what they're doing. So
right. Yeah, we want to kind of join forces. Honestly, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative. This is something that affects us all and affects our water, our precious water. We have a big underground aquifer here, and we don't want it poisoned by this technocracy that's springing up all around us.
Yes.
Anyway, do you have anything else for folks tonight, Chris?
No, not really.
I don't think I do either.
I'm glad that we were able to stay on alive for most of the time here.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
And thank y'all for watching.
Keep tuned in, and we'll try to get, I don't know, Jason will have to get somewhere where we can have really strong Wi-Fi and try to upload that video somehow, or we'll break it down in pieces or something. But it's too good not to try to get it out there. So
we'll get that out there to you. We're going to continue our coverage on data centers and local issues first. Tonight we went into more national stuff, but the data centers, the coming solar panels, there's lots of threats to our land and liberty we need to cover. So, like I said, join us, America First Abilene. Thanks for watching.
Yep, thank you. See y'all next time.